The Val Emmons Show, where freedom is cool and political correctness is for sissies.
Good evening, everyone. On this 4th day of December 2013, I'm Val Emmons, and you're listening to The Val Emmons Show. Today, after almost 1 year, the tapes from the Sandy Hook Elementary Massacre have been released. The tapes are of teachers and staff who were in the school during Adam Lanza's rampage that took the lives of 20 children and 6 adults and set off a countrywide debate on gun bans for months into 2014. The real issue here, however, was Lanza's mental health issues, not the guns himself. He could have taped a bomb to himself, if you ask me, and killed these people just as easily, in my opinion. If you want to commit a violent act, then you will commit a violent act with whatever weapons you can get your hands on. Taking away law-abiding Americans' rights to defend themselves against nut jobs like Lanza just is not fair, nor is constitutional. Law-abiding citizens are not the ones committing the crimes and obtaining guns legally, so how can you even think of taking away that right? I just wanted to throw that in there because it did set off a huge debate. And so I posted the tapes on my Facebook page, as it took a few searches for me to find the calls in their entirety. So you can go to my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Val Emmons to listen to the New Haven Register's posts of the tapes on SoundCloud. From what I listened to, the callers seem pretty calm in the few tapes, making it hard for me to understand the prosecutor withholding them for so long from the public. I mean, a year almost. What is it? It's 10 days. It'll be the anniversary. In the one tape I posted, a state trooper calls with a victim that has been shot in the foot, and it's a female victim, and she seemed pretty calm about it. I'm not sure if she was just in shock, but she seemed pretty calm. On another tape, another teacher sounds pretty calm as she tells dispatchers her location and the location of her students before she says she has to go and lock the doors. And then the custodian of the school called police several times, and you could tell he was shaken up from the gunshot, but he had not seen, any injuries at this point. And then he kept hearing shots fired. Then a woman calls and said there's been a shooting at Sandy Hook, and she says, hurry and get to the school. So let's play that one. Let's play that one real quick for you.
I'm in the school. I'm in the classroom.
Okay, do you have everyone in the classroom and the door?
All of my students. The door is not locked yet. I have to go.
Okay, lock the door. Tell me, keep everybody calm, keep everybody down, get everybody away from the windows, okay?
Yes, okay.
Right. Where are you in the school?
I'm in the hallway when you walk in the front entrance if you take a left.
Okay. All right, just try to lock down the school, okay?
We're trying, okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm sorry, that was the teacher that was saying that she was in the classroom. This is the woman pleading with the police to rush to the school.
John 911, what's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here in Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay,
They're still running. They're still shooting. Sandy Hook School, please.
Barbara.
Okay, so in my opinion, those are the two worst calls. Rick Thorne, the head custodian, he called in too, but that one's a little long. You want to listen to that, you can go out to my Facebook page, because I have a lot to talk about today. But he was just saying that he hadn't seen anybody, blah, 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 but he was pretty calm. So I really don't understand. There wasn't a lot of screaming or a lot of kids hollering that I heard. And there's only 7 tapes that got released. I think I pretty much listened to them all, but I just can't figure out what the big deal was in releasing the tapes. And it really makes you wonder. Like, I'm not saying these folks were not terrified, but the calls don't relay that in their voices. And if you disagree, please comment on the post on my Facebook page where these tapes are listed. I'm just curious as to why it took so long. So, do you want to know how the NSA is tracking you? The Washington Post had a great breakdown, and I've posted it to my Facebook page as well, but I'm going to go over it just for a minute. with you. I think it's a great article. So it says documents obtained by the Washington Post indicate the National Security Agency is collecting billions of records a day to track the location of mobile phone users around the world. The bulk collection performed under the NSA's International Surveillance Authority taps into the telephony skills of major telecommunications providers, including some here in the United States. The NSA collects this location and travel habit data in order to do target development, in parentheses, quote, target development, to find unknown associates of targets it already knows about. To accomplish this, the NSA compiles information on vast databases or devices and their locations, most of those collected by definition or suspect of no wrongdoing. Like me. I haven't done anything wrong, but they're probably collecting my data right now. Officials say they do not purposely collect U.S. phone locations in bulk, but a large number are swept up incidentally, in quotations, incidentally. Using these vast location databases, the NSA applies sophisticated analytic techniques to identify what it calls co-travelers, unknown associates who might be traveling with or meeting up with a known target. So they have a graphic on here of how it works. You need to check this out on my Facebook page. It's pretty neat. So cell tower coverage leaves few places to hide. Just by virtue of being on a mobile device reveals its location in multiple ways on the basic signaling pathways of the global telephone network. Much of the data crosses U.S. territory, even for foreign registered phones. NSA collection from those links is known as upstream. Okay? So then there's a map that depicts North America cell towers for illustration. The NSA says it does not intentionally collect U.S. location data in bulk, but it incidentally takes a great deal. So how the NSA gets locations for mobile devices. When mobile devices connect to a cellular network, they announce their presence on one or more registers maintained by the telephone providers in order to connect and bill their counterparts for telephone calls. Registration messages often include a device's course location and the level of a city or county of a finer position based on a distance of the cellular tower. Many mobile devices and smartphones use Wi-Fi signals as well to fix their locations, relying on databases that map millions of hotspots around the world. These signals can locate a device down to a city block. It's kind of like, your phone tracker, which is kind of messed up. I mean, if I have a stalker and he happens to work at this NSA and, he wants to find me, all he's got to do is walk around a block until he finds me. Global positioning satellite receivers built into many cellular and satellite telephones can locate a device within a 100-meter radius or less. Wow. Most mobile operators also track phones precisely by triangulating their distance from multiple towers, for example, to provide location-based emergency services. So how the NSA tracks targets to find possible associations is co-traveler analytics is one active operational NSA target development method. It draws on location data such as global cell phone tower identifiers, or GCID, to compute the date, time, and location of any device in proximity to a known foreign intelligence target within an hour time window. This system monitors individuals' movements regardless of whether they had previously been identified as a target. So basically what that's saying is that if I'm walking by a terrorist, like the other day I was here in D.C. and my friend Shelly was here, and this guy walks up and he's like, "Can you take a picture?" And he looked like a terrorist. I'm sorry. He looked like the guys that flew into the World Trade Center. And if you do, I'm sorry. I'm profiling, but that's human freaking nature for me to profile you, because those guys all were foreigners that had tan skin and looked like, that Middle Eastern. So I'm profiling. It's human nature. Like I said, if you don't think profiling is human nature, well, then you're retarded. Because you need to look at other nature, like snakes, or birds, or any kind of animal. If they see something red, they stay away from it. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, the red animal, red bug, red spider is toxic to them if they eat it, etc. So I'm profiling, okay? So I look at Shelly, and she takes a picture of the guy, and it just happens to be the Department of Justice building that we were standing in front of. So this guy walks up and he asks her to take a picture, and he's Middle Eastern. And afterwards I said, "Shelly, I hope you realize that that guy could have been casing the place, and she was like, oh my God, you're right, he probably could have. Oh, I just probably helped the guy. Anyway, we both had cell phones. If that guy is a suspected or known terrorist, we were both standing near him in front of the Department of Justice. So do you think that they're going to identify me as a potential target because I was in the proximity to this guy? Well, based on this, yes. Is that legal? The NSA says its collection is lawful. The agency says it is not interested in everyone's data and does not intentionally collect U.S. location information in bulk. More significantly is the program's ability to search huge volumes of timestamp position records without specifically a target, looking for unexpected droplets of useful information in a sea of data. For the overwhelming majority of phone users swept into the system, the NSA has no reason to suspect that their movements are relevant to a valid foreign intelligence purpose. So we're going to see when the UN does their little review, their investigation of the NSA and the UK version of the NSA. I can't remember it right offhand right now. Anyway, we're going to see if what we're doing is right. If we're spying on the Chancellor of Germany or whoever, is it right? No, I don't think it is. I think it is unconstitutional. And not only that, it's making other countries not trust us. Not like they trusted us before, but I understand where they're coming from here because I don't trust my own government. All right, so to another subject. Since it's the Christmas season, have you all heard this talk of a war on Christmas? Okay, to me, this is getting a little ridiculous. And when I say this, I mean, look, I'm not religious at all. I choose not to participate. However, I don't care if someone wants to wish me good tidings by saying Merry Christmas to me. People, this has just gotten out of control with mostly the liberals that are basically just being downright mean-spirited. If you find it offensive when someone wishes you Merry Christmas, well, then you need to take a look at yourself. Are you a miserable, wretched person who can't accept a cheerful wish for you to have a Merry Christmas? A merry day that just happens to be celebrated by Christians for the birth of Jesus Christ? Do you melt like the Wicked Witch when you hear the word Christmas? Or is it like a vampire seeing sunlight? I mean, do you just like disintegrate? I mean, come on. I mean, the word is the word so horrible that you just can't say thank you? Happy holidays to you as well? Or Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa or so on? Christmas is, it makes me angry because these people are wishing you well. It doesn't matter what they're saying. And this country was founded on the pretense that, we all have a different religious faith. And to persecute one another for what we believe in, well, I think that's unconstitutional. I think we have a right to religious freedom. And if I want to frickin' tell you Merry Christmas, that's my freedom to do so. It may be your freedom to get mad and be like the little Grinch and run away like a little baby. I mean, but come on. Are you going to melt in the corner about it? Is it going to harm you? Oh my God, it hurts my ears. I'm going to go deaf because I heard Christmas. Come on, people. Really? Get a life. Christmas, and another thing that makes me mad, Christmas isn't about shopping. It's about being with family. And along those same lines, you shouldn't have to buy something for someone who, if you don't have the money. A simple, happy, joyous tiding to have a Merry Christmas or whatever you celebrate will suffice. Me, I don't care if you wish me as long as it's wishing me well. I don't celebrate Christmas for the same reasons that religious folk do, obviously. But for me, it's another day to appreciate those that I love by spending time with them, not money. And if I can give them a gift, that's even better. And I do. But if I can't, I'm not going to beat myself up over it or go into debt for a year either. So that's just how I feel about it. I'd like to hear your comments, so you can put those on my Facebook page or you can send me a tweet at Val Emmons. Facebook, www.facebook.com/Val Emmons. So that's that. So a few weeks ago, I reported to you regarding Martin Bashir's comments on Sarah Palin. Well, according to Time, he's resigned. Sometimes it may seem that you can say just about anything on TV these days. MSNBC anchor, now former MSNBC anchor Martin Bashir has proved otherwise. The British journalist handed in his resignation to his bosses after weeks of controversy over a commentary in which angry over Sarah Palin's comparison of the debt to slavery, which, remember I told you that basically you are in debt to slavery? I mean, I'm sorry, you're in, debt is a slavery. Because in my opinion, when you pay taxes, you're paying down our debt. Well, a portion of it. Obviously, not much is going because we have so many entitlements anymore. But you're paying a portion of our debt, okay? They're not asking you. They're telling you. And your money is equal to the time it takes for you to earn that money that they take. That is indentured servitude. And to the infinity and beyond. So I don't typically agree with crazy Sarah Palin. But this time I do agree with her, because when they're taking something from you, they're taking your time. Not taking your money. They're taking your time, because time is equivalent of the money and the amount of money that you have to work in order to get the money they take from you. So they're taking your time. They're stealing your time. I look at it a different way than you guys do, folks. Anyway, he suggested the former Alaskan governor deserved to have someone defecate in her mouth. Come on. More specifically, Bashir's rant provided a dramatic example of the cruelty of actual slavery. A slaver named Thomas Thistlewood, who would punish slaves by having others urinate or shit in their mouths if anyone truly qualified for a dose of discipline from Thomas Thistlewood, Bashir concluded, Palin would be the outstanding candidate. That's awful. That's terrible. That's just disgusting. At that time, I said, Bashir, take Piers Morgan and haul your ass back overseas. Go back to Europe, because I'm really sick of these guys coming over here and telling us how our politics should be. Piers Morgan isn't even a freaking, I don't know about Bashir, I haven't looked into that, but Piers Morgan isn't even a freaking citizen. Bashir soon apologized on air, and that was not real, by the way. I said it. That was written because he had to apologize for fear of losing his job. That wasn't. He didn't mean it. If he did, he wouldn't have said something like that. So anyway, he apologized on air, and Sarah Palin accepted while reiterating that his comments were vile and evil. But the cries for disciplining Bashir continued. The network just lost new host Alec Baldwin, whose late-night show was ended after just a couple of weeks when he was recorded making a homophobic comment at a paparazzo. Now MSNBC, whose bread is liberally buttered by the progressive audience it cultivates, would have to consider punishing a firebrand host many of its viewers love for a slight to a politician said viewers can't stand. It's not who he said it about, it's how he said it. And they'll look for any, I was talking today. It seems like the mainstream media, they have their biases, and it just makes me sick anymore, because those biases don't reflect the facts or the truth sometimes, and they reflect what a person wants it to be. Now, Sarah Palin, she's, like I said, she's a whole lot of crazy. Sometimes she says stuff that makes sense, but sometimes she's just like, I'm looking at her going, what? I don't even pay no attention to her. And people love her, though. I don't understand that, but people love her, and whatever. People love Obama, too. Don't get that one either. But, but the problem with our mainstream media is that instead of being the watchdogs that they're supposed to be, that First Amendment was set up for them to utilize, they conceal a lot of the truth because they're no longer the watchdogs. Instead, they're the lapdogs for politicians and big corporations. And I find it absolutely sickening because, I went to school to be a journalist, obviously. And I was, my teacher, one of my favorite teachers was at Arkansas State University, and she was my communications professor, Dr. Mary Jackson Pitts. And she made sure that we understood that we needed to leave our biases out of our journalism. And I'm forever grateful for that because, and I had teachers, okay, this is the difference between now when I went to college, which I graduated in 2005, folks. So it wasn't that long ago that I was in college. I did things a little backwards than most people do. I had kids and then went to college. But then my political science teachers, when it came to, it was W's, when he won the election, and I hated him. I couldn't stand him. I always fought with the conservatives about it because they called me Young Hillary. Now I'm an independent because I think both sides are frickin' nuts and they can't get it right. Of course, if you think you agree with everything that one party says, then you're a sheep. If you can't, then you can't think for yourself. So that's why I feel that I'm better off just being an independent. That way I can attack whoever steps wrong. And I will. And I'm not afraid to. I'll call you out on your mistakes. And I'll also tell you I'm sorry if I was wrong. So that's the difference in me and some of these other folks. And I'll mean it. They won't have to tell me to make an apology like they did Bashir. But I just think that we need to leave. Oh, my professors. So when I was in school, it was election time. They wouldn't even tell us who they were voting for. They made us look up the facts on our own and make our decisions for ourselves. Now I have a friend that goes to ASU, and he was telling me that the teachers there in the political science department are so liberal it's ridiculous. That they're telling people who to vote for, and that's not teaching. You're supposed to let people figure things out for themselves. You give them the facts, just like media. You give them the facts and let them figure it out for themselves. Leave your biased opinion out of it. Anyway, that's why I like, Russian television, the BBT, got RT. I enjoy Al Jazeera reporting too. But as with any medium, you have to do your research. And, if you're going to believe something if you think that you can use just one source, you're wrong. Because there's other reporting done. There's so many stories done on each and every issue. And some people dig and some people are lazy and they don't find those issues. So you have to use more than one source when looking at things. And I think that that's one of the huge mistakes that people make because they don't. They just say, oh, well, look at this. And that's right. And all right, I'm going to go with that. But you have to look at more than one source on any issue. Anyway, Bashir's resignation sparred MSNBC a tough decision, but it would have been better if the network had owned up and taken action itself. I don't believe in a one strike you're out policy for every bonehead. But we live in a time when it's easy for people to screw up in public. People misspeak, they get angry, they get stupid. And when it comes to politics and the media, plenty of people are ready to be outraged for strategic reasons. But if there's an example of a single statement that caused for an anchor to be punished, suggesting that a woman deserves to have someone defecate in her mouth not offhandedly, but in a produced segment on a network's air, that's pretty much it. Were Palin's remarks insensitive and historically ignorant? Absolutely. But like I said, I still feel that we are in debt. And we will be more in debt to China. We will be slaves to China. I think she's absolutely right, though. Maybe historically ignorant, yes. But have other broadcasters said offensive things and lived to blab another day? Yep. Was the misinformation spread by 60 Minutes discredited Benghazi report more damaging to public knowledge? Sure. But the beloved somebody else did something bad once too argument has to end somewhere. If anything can be excused by searching the archives for a counterexample, anything is permissible. So, I've said some things on the air that I regretted afterwards. They just kind of came out when my show was on KARN 102.9 there in Little Rock, the Cumulus Network, and I got backlash for it because I said it wrong. I didn't say anything nearly horrible as that, but I got called racist a lot. But it's not what it's how people. You have to also learn it's how people perceive and how the receiver of what you're saying is receiving your message, not just how you say it, but how they hear it. So you have to always make sure that you're communicating in a way that people are understanding. Because I had to clarify, and then people, were okay. Anyway, let's move on. So this is interesting. Walmart has finally opened 2 Walmart stores in D.C. One on Georgia Avenue Northwest. It was a store opening that people waited in the cold for. After 3 years of debate, legal wrangling, and strong-arm tactics on both sides, Walmart is finally open for business in the D.C. We fought for a long time to make sure that this store would really represent what we want in our ward, said Ward 4 Councilwoman Muriel Bowser. A high-quality building, fantastic products, and wonderful services. I have to say, it is one of the nicer buildings I've seen for a Walmart. It's pretty awesome. There's going to be a food court. I want that. And they need to put a Walmart. I would actually probably go to Walmart if it was like this one. Of course, all things are different in D.C. and New York, and up here they're more sophisticated. Anyway, 38 truckloads of merchandise and 1 million pounds of food were brought in for the grand opening weekend. The store in Brightwood area and the one on H Street near the Union Station will have a general merchandise, electronics, toys, and pharmacies, plus groceries, fresh produce, a bakery, and deli. Shani Rutledge and Lisa McNair were first in line. They say convenience is a big deal to them. It's 5 minutes away, explained Rutledge. If the kids need anything like pants or anything before school, we're right here, and they can get to school on time. McNair is pleased with the fresh produce and food options. It's cheaper. You don't have to worry about going all over because Walmart's got everything you need, literally like everything you need in one store. All right, folks, let me just tell you, DC folks, you will get sick of Walmart. I hardly ever go to Walmart anymore. I went on Black Friday. I know I'm always dissing Walmart, but I did go on Black Friday because they had the best deals on electronics, as usual. But most of the time, I try to stay away from Walmart. Because I wonder if they'll have the same kind of people at Walmart that we have in Little Rock, in Arkansas. Do you think those people? You think the people that fraternize this Walmart are gonna go and dress half naked when they're 400 pounds with Speedos on? I just wonder. Just saying. Mayor Vincent Gray said Walmart is keeping its promises, hiring about 800 people, 70% of which are D.C. residents. September's fight over a wage hike almost scuttled the entire deal until Gray vetoed the city council's legislation to require $12.50 an hour. This morning, the mayor reiterated the company's plan for growth. These two Walmarts are 2 of 6 that will be developed in the District of Columbia, Gray declared. And frankly, I'm especially proud that over one of the east end of the city, where we have so many food deserts, Walmart will be constructing a new store in Skyland, which is in Southeast Ward 7, right around the corner from where I live also. To that, cheers and applause broke out. Still, a handful of protesters paced outside decrying Walmart's low wages. It's too early to say if the council's latest vote to raise the minimum wage, this time to $11.50, will rearrange Walmart's plans. While the cash register ringing, that fight is still just beginning. But don't forget, by law, you have to pay for your plastic bags at a DC Walmart, because that's how they roll here. I told you about that yesterday. So Bloomberg reports that Democrat members of the U.S. Congress are urging McDonald's Corp. And other fast food chains to raise wages for store workers. Too many hardworking families are being forced to depend on poverty-level wages, 53 members of Congress wrote in a letter being mailed today to restaurant executives, including McDonald's. Chief Executive Officer Don Thompson, paying fair wages and putting more spending money in the hands of consumers will strengthen our economy. And large image fast food employee strike protesters demonstrated inside of a McDonald's Corp restaurant in Los Angeles, California. On August 29th, fast food cooks make $9 an hour on average, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The letter, signed by representatives including Linda Sanchez, a California Democrat, and Raul Grijalva, an Arizona Democrat, is also being sent to CEOs at Burger King Worldwide, Wendy's Corp, Yum Brands, and Domino's Pizza. Tomorrow's fast food workers plan to strike for $15 an hour pay in more than 100 cities. Are you serious? While the protesting for higher wages, which started in New York City last year, have spread across the country, they're done little to change an industry that employs millions of low-wage workers. The strikes in bitter coincidence with President Barack Obama's support for a bill pending in Congress that would raise the federal minimum wage to $10.10 an hour from $7.25, spurring inflation. Some states have higher minimum wages than the federal. Okay, so first of all, I just want to point out that the only people that win when the minimum wage goes up is Congress, because they're going to get more taxes to spend, because you're going to be making more money, so they're going to be taking more of it as well. And you're going to lose out, because as soon as you have to get paid $10 to $15 an hour, prices are going to raise. Prices are going to raise, and the food quantity are going to get smaller. Do I want a little 17-year-old snot-nosed brat throwing my cold fries at me through the drive-thru window and making $15 an hour to do so? No, I don't think so. Okay? The only people that win when the minimum wage raises is Congress, because they get more taxes from you. Not only that, your wages go up, so you pay more taxes on your federal income taxes. So think about that. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow. That's all I got for tonight. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.